All right, everybody. So we'll welcome in event promoter, business owner, and announcer, Ian Riley. Ian, thank you so much for taking time to chat with us tonight, man. How are you doing?
Doing well, man. Appreciating the time for me. It's a lot going on this time. A lot of racing going on, a lot of stuff going on with the business, and yeah, keeping things rolling along.
No doubt, no doubt. Definitely a busy time for you as we're coming off the heels of the Barbara Fritchie Classic, an event that you're an integral part of. Before we dive into all of that and the announcing and stuff, let's just give everybody sort of a little insight into who Ian Riley is. Anybody who maybe hasn't had a chance to meet you or hear you on prior podcasts and whatnot.
Cool. Yeah, man. I'm just a kid that loves motorcycles. Grew up in the industry. My family, my dad's been involved in business, motorcycle business since 73, 74. Yeah, he was part owner of a dealership in Woodbridge, Virginia. And then the Barbara Fritchie Classic actually brought him to Frederick. That he had been coming to that race since 68, and an opportunity for Yamaha dealership came out. So yeah, we were in Frederick because of the Fritchie. But yeah, so I grew up around the dealership, taking out trash to the kid and working summers. And my dad loved dirt track, but I like to jump. So I didn't spend most of my life racing motocross. Had my pro license for a while, and lucky enough to qualify for national. So I'm out there in the Cycle News archive somewhere. But yeah, just love motorcycles, love the people involved in, love racing. It's like my moto family, I call it.
What was your experience like, racing professionally? Like, tell us a little bit about some of those track days, sort of how it was lining up on the grid.
It was cool. I mean, I did well locally, and big eye opener when take the chance to get the pro card, pro am card, motocross. And my first attempt for qualifying for a race was I went to Atlanta Supercross, the old Fulton County Stadium, to try to qualify in the 250 class, which was back then was the premier class, and it poured down rain. I went for the last qualifying spot to get a night show and threw it away in grand fashion. But it was an eye opener when Guy Cooper went by me, I mocked him through a set of ruts. But that was cool. As more time I spent trying to qualify, I think I missed making a main 10 times in a row by one spot. And then actually I went dirt track racing because my dad was a big dirt track guy. And there's a gentleman named Donnie Smith, he used to sponsor. He had a bike. And I was like, I want to get a dirt track, try something new. And learning the corner speed momentum, I swear to God, I credit that for qualifying the next national I went to, because I carried so much more corners into speed now out of the corners. That was the next step I needed. So that was cool. I mean, lifelong friends I've known across country that I made in the industry from racing that to this day I talk to probably weekly. It's interesting. The career that I grew up in the motorcycle shop, worked for my dad, and then my mom was a teacher, and I ended up becoming a school teacher because I had summers off, weekends off, and good health insurance, so I could afford the hospital visits. So I did that while I raced, and then family and stuff, and yeah, did a bunch of different things.
Tell us about that bike behind you.
Oh, it's my YZ450. That's probably the bike I'll have forever. I have 2 discs in my back that are impeding the spinal cord a little bit, so I'm gonna have to have surgery probably this fall. So I've been able to ride for about a year, but I like to get out and do some moto whenever I can. So that's my moto bike. And the funny story about that is Yamaha every now and then runs what's called special sales, where they have like either media bikes or bikes that our brand ambassadors have had. And in 20, it was off the heels of COVID, a bike came up on the special sale, and I look at it, and it's got a Pro Circuit sticker on the head, and it's got Ryan Villapo's graphics on it. And it was like $7,200. So I was like, we'll try this one. We get to the shop, and it's got the Pro inspection sticker. AMA Pro, the red sticker with the number. I'd gone to the Monster Energy Cup race 18 when he came out of retirement, and went to the race, and I took a bunch of pictures of the bikes in the pits. I looked at one of my pictures. It's the bike that Ryan Villapoto raced in the Monster Energy Cup. And I contacted Ryan, and he verified it. So it's kind of cool. So it's this one. The motor's a ripper, so I don't want to get rid of it because the motor's a Pro Circuit motor, the stock suspension. But I got set for me. Still fun. I can jump some stuff.
That's a sick piece to have, man, to come into something like that. That's a really cool little story behind it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're having our 50th year anniversary. We'll turn 50 in first week of September. We're doing August 21st. We're doing a customer appreciation Fredericktown birthday celebration. Villapoto's coming in and going to be at the shop and hang out with us.
That'll be awesome. That's a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Good deal. Yeah. So 50 years with Fredericktown Yamaha. That's
1975. Yeah.
So what is your role with the business, and on the heels of that, sort of your guys' involvement with the Barber Fritchie Classic?
So I guess the term would be general manager, but I could say generally do everything. We're a small shop. I mean, Fredericktown Yamaha is uh, 6 employees. I've got myself, my dad work out front. I've got a bicycle sales because we transitioned to e-bikes, and parts manager Jason Conlon, who actually was a national top 10 supermoto racer for a bunch of years, rode for the CHM team. And then I've got part-time mechanic. Our main mechanic had retired and had a hard time finding mechanics. I'm back working on bikes part of the time too. So wear a lot of hats. None of them fit well, but we're a small family business and we love motorcycle, love our customers. So we do what we can.
And so your involvement then, how did that dealership sort of get deep into sort of promoting and helping with the Barber Fritchie Classic?
So like I said, the race brought my dad to Frederick. Just as he was a race fan and he loved the race and came to Frederick, and then the opportunity for the dealership came about. And then being involved in the dealership, he wanted to be involved with dirt track a little bit. So we sponsored a local racer named Donnie Smith. He was our first sponsored dirt tracker. And went to Barber Fritchie in the first year there. Donnie's the 1978 YZ250 we built for him. Seized up in practice. So he came back, tried to put it back together at the shop. In the meantime, Donnie was dating a young girl whose brother is basically legendary in the Virginia area, Bobby Yarborough. Bobby Yarborough, who passed away at 16, but he was would have been an icon in the sport if he wouldn't have passed away. But Cindy, they had Bobby's bike, a spare bike, so Donnie raced the Suzuki under Fredericktown Yamaha guys. But yeah. With that said, over years, my dad joined the Lions Club. The Lions Club was putting on the race at that time. Lions Club took over the race in the mid-50s, I believe, or 60s from the Delphi family, who started the race back in 1921. And then the Lions Club did it up until about 2006 when they really wasn't pulling the money in that they wanted to do. It didn't worth their time in trying to put it together. So a local business, R.F. Klein, who did excavating at the time, Klein was a big name in Frederick, stepped up and put the money up. Basically, the story goes that Mr. Klein's dad, RF, the original Klein, said, whatever this race takes to continue on, you make sure you do it. So Klein family put money up for about 7 years. Coming off 2012, they had some financial difficulties and went bankrupt about 3 weeks before the race. And mind you, my dad's been helping out the race in 78 one way, shape, or form, either trying to get racers together, bring people in. So in 2013, my dad took out a second mortgage on the house 2 weeks before the race, put up the money to make sure the race happened. And then we've been glued to it for the last 12 years. My dad's goal was to get the race to 100. That was his thing. He wanted to get to 100. We got to 100 and then now what? So continue doing it. But the goal is, try to get someone to come in and step up. We'll still help. But my dad's 80 and it's gonna be a handful. It's tough because it's on a holiday it's on the 4th of July. So getting people to be around and help out with it. It takes a small army to make it happen.
And it's an event that, sort of it goes sort of hand in hand with Amateur Nationals and now the Doin Mile. How has that really impacted you guys over the past couple of years?
Yeah, it's been tough. We always, Frederick's an interesting track. It's a little narrow. You have to be a special type of rider to do it. It always draws some local talent. I say local, Ohio, Maryland, Virginia. But it's drawn national talent over the years too. We had Ricky Graham show up, Steve Moorhead, the Rotors. George Rotor dominated it for years. Rodney Ferris, who was a local kid from Maryland, won a number of times. But over the years, it had a big enough draw because dirt tracking was still a very large sport. You'd have 100 people trying to qualify at a national. So there's still the regional series or the hot shoe series, and it drew it in. As the field started to shrink somewhat, it was affected slightly. And when the race is on a Monday through Friday, it's not usually that big a deal. When it falls on the weekend, we have conflict with national periodically. And for years, the AMA recognized the Fritchie being what it was, and it kind of had its own spot. Last 6 or 7 years, 8 years maybe, it hasn't been blessed as much to be recognized in that way. So it does, on the years that we didn't have the top pros because there was a national, we always tout that the next big thing would be coming through Frederick. I mean, Jared Mees raced it as a a pro-am, and Shayna won. Shayna and Jeffrey Carver had a major battle as pro-am riders. And that's just recent names. But you could go back to Mike Hacker, win national. Kenny Colbeth, which came as a junior and raced it. But the amateur nationals definitely took a little bit of out of the sales, because not only did we not get the top pros that we used to pull, because budgets are tight and there's a lesser field, we started losing the amateurs. So the last 3 years were a little more challenging. 2 years were a little more challenging. Last year we had to cancel because we found out Steve Nace had helped for a number of years with the All-Star Series. And when he was contracted to work the Grands and also with AFT, the track is pretty tricky. We didn't have enough time to pull together a crew to make sure the track was safe and prepared, or staff to run the event. So we pulled the plug last year, which was painful. It was hard to do. Brought back this year, and the crowd showed up. The fans of Frederick are special. The families, the people who are involved in it, whether it be the Dutchers family, who doesn't have a Honda dealership in town anymore, but they put up money to make the race happen. And Texana and Jason were there in the crowd watching. But it's generational. I mean, it's grandfathers, fathers, sons, grandkids coming to this race. So it definitely has taken some wind out of the sails, just not to be recognized as a part of history and to help support us. But on the other side, I understand AFT and AMA is a business. It has to happen the way it does. So we did what we did. The Bear family stepped up this year and to get the race put on. Can't thank Daryl and Candy enough. Brought in a crew of people to put the race on. We handle the marketing, the vendors, the event, bringing in the equipment. They handled the race promotion side of it. And that was a good race. Sean stepped out. The BMW was a big, crowd pleaser. That thing just sounds cool. But we had some Canadian kids that came down this year that just was amazing. I mean, they made the fans stand up and cheer. So
you talk about, it goes right back to what you're saying, like the next big thing coming through Frederick. I remember, I think I got to see Jake Johnson make one of his first expert starts in 2001 was there at Frederick, before he even had the Maroney's leathers and all that. And that same year was Joe Kopp and Johnny Murphy, Mike Hacker, Dominic Biolek was still coming out. The kids that you had this year, Loic and Mateo and Gabriel from Canada, them and actually Dominic's son, Jordan, who wasn't in the house that day, he had a really solid amateur nationals. They have been ripping it up on the Canadian scene, and I definitely hope to see those guys continue to progress through the amateur ranks and mix it up on a pro circuit. Just sort of, what was your I guess highlight of this year, and then I'll kind of backtrack to a couple other questions for you.
Yeah, this year the highlight was having the fans show up. We had close to 1,750 spectators, and that's off the year we didn't have the event. So I always wonder when you don't have an event, are people going to forget about it? And it's also on a Friday. One downside to Fritchie, our numbers are always lower on Friday, Saturday, or Sundays because it's a 3-day weekend, and some people will go out of town, so the locals may not show up. And highlight was the number of fans and families we got to see there that just were happy to be at the Frederick Fairgrounds on the 4th. As far as the racing goes, it's hard not to cheer for Randy Neal, who's 79 years old, who keeps showing up on his old Sportster and putting his laps in. And since the hooligan class paid money this year, he made a little purse money getting 7th. I think somebody broke, and so he got advanced one spot. So yeah, but it's funny you got some of the top. Cam Smith was there, Mike Poe, Sean Bear, Mitch Harvick came down, raced, but all these guys were going around, and the loudest cheer from the stands was Randy Neal, 79 years old, because every time they came by, the crowd just went nuts. So pretty wild. Yeah, only in Frederick.
And that place really, it is, like you talked about, being so family friendly. Like we've said, my mom and I would come every year from 01 to 05, and it really is. It's just it really is such a family friendly environment from the vendors, and you guys have that covered grandstand there that keeps everybody out of the hot sun there on the 4th of July. At least spectators. Brad was probably struggling down in the pits, and you guys having to put on the event. Talking about that earlier, we talked about how that track is narrow, it's tricky. What goes into prepping that facility? Because it is a cushion half-mile track, and it's a moody little place.
It is. It's And I do a lot of the groundwork as far as the social media, and I work the front gate from the time it opens to the time it closes. But thank goodness we've had good people come work the track, and Steve did a wonderful job the last 10 years helping with that. He knew how to prep the surface pretty well. It is a fine line of, so during the year, that's the only time motorcycles are on the track, 1 day a year, Barford's class. The rest of the time it's used for trotting and Massuris, like horses, run around. That's what that track's used for. Other than the fair, they do demolition derby on it, or they'll do some rodeos on the front straight, or there's concerts there. But so got to drag it off, have to drag off the depth of it to get down to workable service. I want to say 14 years ago, didn't drag nearly enough off, and it rutted up. It was deep. They tried the thought was make a true cushion, and it didn't work out. We had to stop halfway through the event and pull all the dirt off, which made for a long day. But so you drag it off, get the thick stuff off, then you start putting down you rake it and put down some I want to call it calcium. It's to hold moisture in, and that's mixed in. Then you put down water. This year, Joey Alexander, who used to race dirt track, and Dalton Winkler helped with the track prep, and of course Daryl. We had to run the equipment. The Wasslers bringing their water trucks, and it was a little bit different because it was prepped different than it had been in the past. So it got a little rough coming turn. And it's changed a little bit over the years, but turn one's not that turn. There's the way the track's up, you come to turn one, there's almost a little straight in between 1 and 2. And then 2 gets real tight and narrow. There's a telephone pole on the back straight that's claimed a few people. That's actually one of the ways we met Sammy Halbert, back the year that Ricky Marshall won it. Sammy introduced himself to that pole, took out a section of fence. But it narrows down, and then the back straight's downhill into a somewhat narrow turn 3 because it goes over an elevator that has a bridge underneath it, and then back up the front straight, which is uphill. But the track to prep it, it has to be done a certain way because you have a lot of top pro riders coming in, and then you have the amateurs running at the same time with the new way the programs run. It's a dance with the devil sometimes. Yeah, and it's claimed some people. I would say whatever year Ricky Graham showed up. Steve Moorhead, Rotor, Randy Texter. There was a number. I want to say they put too much water down, and they sent them out for a parade lap as they came down the front, two laps, parade lap as they came across the start finish. Both Moorhead and Graham threw it away going in turn 1 before the race even started. So I was like, oh. But then they drug it again and freed up. And I think just from them getting their bikes back, I think Rotor won that year.
Rotor's been like, from what I can remember, and we missed a handful of years, but like he was just like on the 750s, especially like when we would come to watch, he would be gone. Like lap 2, checked out, just absolutely running away and beating the likes of, Steve Beatty and Kevin Barnes and guys who, like you said, like Ricky Graham Moorhead, people who were no slouches, but Rotor just had that place so dialed on a 750, man. Watching him go around that was nuts. It was super impressive. And then lo and behold, that guy that's won quite a few championships showed up in 2005 and put it to him.
Yes, yeah. Mees took over the reign there. It's funny, look at the number of wins. It's the most wins go to Rotor, and then Sammy and Mees are pretty close there as far as switching up the wins in the twins class. It's interesting that the Rotors would come as a family because George's dad raced there back prior, and the generational aspect of the race is cool too. The generation of racers that have come through, the names like Rotor or Barnes, Texter, the Texters over there, and on. Pretty wild, but it's interesting that the Ohio boys came to Frederick and didn't work. Moorhead won there a number of times. Doug Davis showed up and won it the 1 year. So the cushion that attracts Ohio definitely were good groundwork for the coming to winning at the Fritchie.
And then also it kind of plays into the favor of a lot of the Canadian riders who get sort of that loose track up there. When Biolek came in and was, podium his first couple of 600 races before getting a win there in 2003. It's funny, you guys, it's either super hot and windy or it's like severe thunderstorms by main event time. It's so crazy, sort of the variables you guys would get thrown there. How you talked about coming in and taking it over and wanting to get to that 100th anniversary. What was sort of how rewarding was that for you guys and coming into being able to carry that event to like its 100th anniversary?
It took, for me, my involvement is, and I love dirt track, I love the people that race it, but my involvement in the race has been to help my dad achieve what he wanted to do with that. He basically, he's the helm. I do the manual labor to kind of help get things, keep moving forward to assist him. But honestly, that was like probably a highlight of my life was seeing him achieve one of those things, something that meant so much to him. Uh, it was cool. 100 years was good. Um, it, it was, and plus it was on the heels coming off of COVID. So we couldn't have the race. The county shut down everything. We couldn't have the race the year before. So we had to push the 100th the next year. And, yeah, I don't know. There's a few things in my life that kind of put up there as like the special days. That's one. Now I'll tell you, it's a love-hate relationship with the fridge. Whenever you have like the pressure of it, I think my dad and I were at our throats. And my brother does the t-shirts. He does designs and sells the t-shirts. And my other brother Kyle, I think he's over in Ireland now, but he's helped for years. So my mom does all the food for the corner workers inside and stuff. So uh, it's a family. My wife's helped at the front gate collect money with me. So, but yeah, to see that come to it and actually happen when it's all said and done, to sit back and say we were part of something to get it to 100 years. Not many things go 100 years, and it's at the same facility, same track, which is just it's kind of mind blowing. Yeah.
And you guys get a lot of, I mean, to be featured in the front page of the sports. I know a lot of people don't read newspapers anymore, but and that was like so sick. Like coming off the heels of the event is the next day, you guys would be like headline news in the local paper. Like you talked about the community just, coming around and supporting the event so well. And yeah, it was always one of the most like well-attended events that I would get to see all year. I mean, you guys pack out that place, which is so cool. So obviously the 100th is super rewarding for you. Um, you know, this year seeing the support from everybody in the community and the riders who showed up, even with the scheduling conflicts that you guys have dealt with. What would you say? So what would you say is the most memorable race for you and the most memorable racer at that facility?
It's there's a handful of those. So tying it back to the business, growing up at the shop and my dad supporting dirt track racers. And we've been involved with some really good people. My dad, from Di Smith to Rusty Rogers, to Paul Lynch, to Dalton Winkler, to just a good number of race Sammy Halbert. Sammy might as well be, my kids call him Uncle Sammy when it comes to tax. He stays with my parents. We've seen a lot of success. But never the win at the Fritchie. It's one of those things where we helped put the race. We were there every year helping out, even, when dad did his part of the line stuff, we were there helping make sure the race happened when I was a kid. And 2023 it was amazing when Sammy won it because he was our first sponsored rider, but he was on a Harley and they won on the single. 2023, we had Corey. It was the year after Ryan had passed. And so we had a belt, a big championship belt was the main trophy for it. And had the logo on the front. It had Ryan Barnes one side and then Donnie Smith on the other, who helped with the race. And I showed Corey the belt ahead of time. He's like, I'm doing everything I can to win the race. So in 2023, Texter was first, Cam was second, and Bromley was in third. And we helped all those three riders, and they were all in Yamahas. If you would have told me as a kid that there would be three Yamahas on the Twins podium at Barber Fritchie Classic, I thought you were lying. So to step back and see that was pretty cool for my family and for myself and be involved in it. And just good people, all of the families and then that was pretty amazing.
You've done a lot. You've had a lot of involvement with Corey over the years, not just as a sponsorship. You're now an announcer for his series. Yeah. So how did that come about? How's that been, man? You and Kolby make a really good team on those shows.
I'm not sure how it came about. I never announced before the throwdown. I didn't announce anything before the throwdown 2 years ago. I did with James Spoli. Corey needed help with them. I'm like, yeah, I need a break from the shop. It's January. Things are slow. So, I've been a fan of racing my whole life. So I'm sitting in front of the TV myself. I'm probably commentating it for the last 20 years, just talking through the race. Just, like I said, the Texter family has become an extended family to me. I love all of them. Briar, Shayna, the whole family is phenomenal. And I get to see Cruz grow up. I used to joke, when Cruz first got his P50, I was like, I want the first sponsorship spot on that. And not knowing he was going to have 73 million followers on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. But yeah, so when Corey asked to help out with the throwdown, we had been helping with trophies. My whole thing with the throwdown originally, I wanted to help out. So we got trophies. And my idea with Corey was we're going to have the biggest trophies for the littlest kids. So for 2 years in a row, we had the 3-foot trophies for the 50s, 60s, 80 class. And then, still help out with the King of the Throwdowns belt and things like that. But when Corey asked to do that, I was like, yeah, cool, I'll give it a shot. Like, you know what you're signing up for? Because I may not do well. But it's been fun. It's been fun to one do it with James was awesome, and then Kolby's been absolutely a professional. I'm so pumped that he's doing the main gig, and it's great to listen to the weekly when he does that. But not just that, to get to call the races is cool, but to see these kids develop doing the series now from race to race and see their racecraft come together and the battles they're having. I feel like I'm watching history being made in front of by these little kids. So I feel like it's a gift that I get to capture and see. I get to talk about it to a bunch of people that are staying at home. Hopefully I'm doing it justice, and we're working on name pronunciation still. Ray Delaxo, it took me about 2 days and drive home from Florida to get that right. I'm just waiting for him to show up again so I can say it properly. And then Jake's, I finally have that one straight now. So we're working on it. We're gonna do our best.
Who's been your standout for that series so far this year? Who's really kind of been the most impressive rider for you through the first three weekends, 6 rounds of that series?
I tell you, I'm not sure a standout rider because there are a bunch of those kids on any given day they can get it done. I see kids, even the pros later in the day, but in the early program, the afternoon, I have to say it's a class. That 85cc class has been like, it doesn't get much better. Between seeing what Lucy's been able to do, her improvement's been phenomenal. You got Jackson Joyner, who's just on a mission. You got Nickens. You throw Settle in with them, and it's been you throw it, flip a coin to try to figure out who's going to come off turn 4 in the win, because it's come to turn 4 I think 3 or 4 times so far this series. So those kids just been impressive, and I have to say I always love watching Ella Nickens ride, because watching her improvement, she's very calculated, and that's been fun. And her dad John Nickens, Barbara Fritchie Classic winner, so it's kind of been cool. It was interesting being tied to Barbara Fritchie, being at Harpster. You got Doug Davis, who won the Fritchie. You got the pro class. Briar Bauman had been to the Fritchie, didn't win it, but there's a whole group of those kids that, and I say kids because they're good but younger than me now. I'm pushing 55, so I'm an old man. But it's been cool to see the progression of the generation part of it. But I can't say there's one major person that stands out, because all these riders are the one thing about the series that the Corey Texter nationally he's done a good job of bringing riders together, which elevating the sport and elevating the skill of the kids, that you just go into your local tracks fine and good, but when you get to go to the same spot and race against the same people and get that confidence, it's a skill set they'll carry forward. It's just been amazing.
And it does. It brings the riders from all over the country. It's been really awesome to see the depth and see this just Flat Trak as a whole get these bigger like program events, and to have the support from Fans Choice, and they get to hear you guys on the calls, because I can only make it to a couple of rounds, so it's cool to get to tune in and follow along. It makes writing those cycle news things a lot easier when I've got that as a reference point. Ian, we're running out of time, so I just got one more question for you. What are your hopes? You had talked about maybe scaling back a little bit with the event, Barbara Fritchie moving forward. What are your hopes for the event going forward into the next few years?
I love to see the Barbara could continue. And my dad's turned 80. I'm 55. The business is because we're a small staff, is being a bit more demanding on me at what I have to do. So it's hard because everything goes to pause for about 6 weeks before, and the business suffers a bit for the right causes. But I'm trying to, the main thing right now is we want to make sure there was we had a good program so that we could see if someone else wants to step in and kind of carry it on, and we'll still foster our part. Every now and then you have to hand the flag off to the next one to run with it, to either make it better or continue on, and also not to burn ourselves out. I'd like to sit back and enjoy it from the stands a little bit and soak it all in, but it's also, a little bit of a baby. So I don't want to let it go away, but I think there's some good people that can step up and make it happen. We'll do our best to, the running jokes kids at 200. That's a long ways away. I always say, let's get to next year. So we'll see what we can do to see if we can step up and keep the race going.
Love to hear it. See if you can convince them to knock the roof down on that stage just a touch, so we can see down the backstretch.
I took your book. There's some pictures there before the stage. Before that was the present. It didn't used to be there. That roof didn't be there. The backdrop didn't used to be there. And you could see straight across. So I always joke that at some point I'd love to be able to get those big screens put up there so the fans could see turns 2 and 3, because there's a lot of good action there. But Fredericktown, just last thing about it, the grandstands are amazing. But Fredericktown, there's tracks where people park all the way around the outside. They come in early, get their trucks parked, they're standing in the back of their trucks with scaffolding, and the view is just pretty phenomenal. Yeah.
That was one of the first things we noticed when we pulled up. It's just like, yeah, you had, like you said, you had cars parked all around the track and in the infield as well, like down by that coming through the tunnel and park up in near the front stretch into 3 and 4. Not just the riders that are in the pits, but the spectators as well. And yeah, it's been so cool to get to witness that event and to hear about the history of it. And man, thank you guys so much for all that you do for promoting that. And yeah, I hope we can get to get to 102 or 105 or where
104 next year. So
104 next year.
We're going to 104.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, yeah, I would love to get back up there eventually. You know, my mom grew up in Hagerstown, Maryland, so we would go to nationals there. And there was one year that I think Frederick was on like a Wednesday, and then there was like a Winchester half mile that Steve Nace did on a Friday, and Hagerstown was that Saturday or something like that. Yeah. One of the coolest weekends, other than the fact that like I fainted in the stands from a heat stroke at Hagerstown. One of the coolest weekends that we've gotten to experience. Getting to see Jared and Sammy, and I think Carver was at Frederick that year, and their battles carrying over and into Winchester that weekend, and just following that all the way through the national was awesome. But yeah, Ian, thank you so much for your knowledge, your stories, your help in the sport, man. It's always a treat getting to talk to you at the racetrack, or even with just messaging online. Man, you're an awesome guy, and thank you so much for taking time to chat with us. And again, for all your help with the Mission Food CTR Flat Track Series, which coming up, Peoria.
Yep,
right back at it.
That's it. I'll be calling the race by myself on Friday because there's a national that Friday in Missouri. So Kolby about doing the pro thing, and then he'll come meet me out Saturday, and we'll call the race together on Saturday. So, yeah, and likewise, I can't thank you enough for what you do for the sport. Having people call it, and the stuff you do with the podcast, whether it be a Kolby or sitting in with the tank slapping, the more chance people have to be exposed to the sport of flat track is contagious, man. I love it, and I appreciate what you do. So thanks so much for having me.
You're the man, Ian. Take care.
Thank you. Take it. Bye.